right? So this is what we had done on that day. So you want me to continue? You want me to do the remaining part of the revision? You want me to do any specific content if you want to repeat quickly? Right now what we have done is still roles and resources. Probably I would show, if you want, I would show once more how do we do assigning the baselines and all, and then updating. Do you want to see that, or you want me to continue with the next topic, that's earned value analysis? Or is there any other specific topic you people want to look at once from roles and resources? All right, so we'll continue from roles and resources. As yes, so see, revision was we have done already till roles and resources. I'll continue from roles and resources again. Alright, so as you will have to remember, once your project has been created, you have given the you have estimated the duration, you have given the duration, you have scheduled it completely, and now you will have to, right, so now you have to estimate the resource, right? So we have estimated the duration, right? We have estimated the duration, we have given the relationship to create a schedule. Now our schedule is being prepared. We know from when the activity is to be started and when it has to be completed, or when it has to be started. Rather than talking about the whole project, let's specifically talk only about activities. So I know when this activity is going to start and when it is going to be finishing. We know the quantity of the work which we have to do. Now the question is, how many resources do we need? Do we need a group of resource, individual resource? These resources are third party resources. Basically, when I say third party, probably it could be a subcontractor, electrical work, plumbing work. So somewhere it is a third party oriented work, or where why do we separate that? Because third party is something where I do not give on daily basis. For example, you people who did not ask me this question while we doing resources, but somehow it just came to my mind now. For example, assume there's an activity called as electrical works or a plumbing. How do I assign resource to that? Because telling that 10 electricians per day is not possible. You do not know how many electricians are going to come. It's a lump sum amount. It's a lump sum work which you have given it to a third contractor to do it in so many days and give it back or submit it. So what do you do when you create a resource? How do you justify that amount of work? How do you consider that as a lump sum cost? That you people did not ask. Anyway, I'll show you now. Anyway, again we'll have to do a revise of roles resources, so I'll show you that. Remember this one point. One more point is there is something called as a shared resource and unshared resource. You will have to remember this also. What is shared resource, what is unshared resources? I'll tell you now. Now assume there are couple of activities happening simultaneously on a same date. Okay, assume from tomorrow, that's Monday, for the next week there are 2 to 3 activities happening, and we have put on each and every activity I have put a site supervisor. Understanding, right? So I have a site supervisor, site engineer on all my 3 activities. Now the question is that the 3 different site supervisors, or is it a same site supervisor who is assigned to all the 3 activities? Answer is same, right? We do not have separate for each and individual activity. We do not need a separate site supervisor, right? So there is a one supervisor who is doing supervising work of all the activities happening on particular day. Understanding? Now, but the problem is, the moment you assign in Primavera, the moment you assign a resource, what will it do? It will assign all the total amount of work hours onto that activity. Understanding? If there are two activities, on activity A you assign a site supervisor, on activity B you assign a site supervisor, both are starting on the same date for the next whole week. So what will happen? Primavera by default it will assign one full site supervisor on activity A, one full on activity B. Means if a calendar is of 8 hours or 9 hours, 9 hours will be assigned on A, 9 hours assigned on B, but it's not true. There's a one site supervisor who has to work on A and B both. So how do you do that? That you people did not ask me, and I thought, like, when you start practicing it, probably you will have a lot of questions of those kind. But still, anyway, I want to revise it, so I'll show you this also now. So how do we do that? So that is called as a shared resource. So how a resource have to be shared among the multiple activities. And second is unshared resource. Like for example, we are talking about end executors like laborers, skilled laborers, unskilled laborers, masons, your steel fixers, or anybody in that case. They are the people who cannot be shared. If you are sharing them, then the duration will increase. If you remember the formula again, units per time into duration is equal to work. So where units are fixed in terms of the people who are into execution. But if I'm talking about a site supervisor, a planning engineer, project manager, then it's not true, right? The moment you decrease the resource, duration remains constant, the total work will decrease. That's what will happen. So that another thing which I'll try to show you now in this. Okay. All right. So for that same example, probably I'll do this as electrical works. I'll insert another activity, and this is my plumbing. Okay, this activity is also 5 days. Now I'll add a predecessor for this plumbing. I'll say it's a electrical work, and it is going to be start to start. You can see here both the activities starting simultaneously. Let's see first how do we do that shared and unshared resources. So I'll click on this enterprise. I'll go to resource. Here you'll click add, and here we are going to make it as now lots of supervisors are there in my system, so I'll name something. So I just named it so that there are lots of supervisors, so the confusion will not be there. So he's a site supervisor, a labor, and cost here which I'll provide is, let's be little more than that. Okay, see finish. So I have created maximum. I have only one site supervisor, right? So he's a site supervisor. I've just given some name. This is only one what we have per day. I'll click on activity electricals. Now it's very simple, right? To understand, we need a site supervisor for electrical works also. We need a site supervisor on the days when the plumbing work is also happening. So on both the activities I need a site supervisor. So what I'll do, I'll go to this resources, add resources. Here I'll add that guy, and it's the same guy whom I am adding on my other activity called as plumbing, because he's a supervisor. But what is happening by default, you can see here that it is considering that we have two site supervisors. It is taking the complete one full site supervisor on electrical works, because that's how it happens. By default, the number of hours availability what it has onto that particular human resource is that what it is assigned by default. So we'll have to share now. So here in this resource usage spreadsheet, you can see this is how it is 1111. So probably what I'll do, anyway it's not the two different people, it's the same guy who is working on both the activities, so I'll have to distribute him equally. I am reducing his working hours of one particular activity from 1 day to half a day. In the sense, his accountability is on both the activities, so we can reduce his working hours or days. Right now the unit is in days, so it is showing you 1 day and 0.5 days, but if your unit is in hours, you know how to do that. You go to edit, user preference, and do the changes. Then you can assign on basis of hours also. The moment I do this, I have reduced it. You can see here there is no problem. The one human resource has been shared completely, but this you cannot do. This is the way what I have done for a site supervisor. Imagine if it is not a site supervisor, in both the activities I need a mason. Forget about the name of activities. On both the activities I need a masons, and both the activities I need 5 masons. You have only 5. So how do you do that? You cannot. If you make it as 2.5, then what will happen? The duration of an activity will increase because the quantity of work remains constant. If you reduce masons, then the duration of an activity increases. So you cannot share it in that way. Either you will have to change the relationship, because if it is start to start, then it's not possible to do because you do not have resource availabilities. This is a problem. Lot many times in the planning we have thought like, these activities we can do simultaneously because we will get resources which we have proposed. But when you come to the execution part and nearing to that activity, you feel that okay, now the resources availabilities are not it's not there. The approvals have not happened. The proposals have rejected, and only 50% of the resources what you have approved proposed for is that what approved. So the whole relationship of an activity have to be changed, and then you can see that the total duration of the project is getting affected. That's okay, because there is something called as reserve, as I told you previously also. There is something called as contingency reserve and management reserve. So with those reserve we can still have a comfortable duration to do these changes. But to ensure that the scope of the project is not changing, we still do not want to, or we want to control these changes. Change is not good. What you have planned is something which we'll have to execute. That's how it has to be, right? Okay, so this is how we can share a resource. This is how you will have to use these particular resource usage sheets and resource use profile. And then again, getting out of this, right click on Gantt chart. You have something called as activity details. Click on that, you will come out of it. Okay, now I'll show you one more thing. Now I was telling you about, I'll remove these resources. First of all, I'll remove resources. I'm just removing all my resource on activity electrical works. Same thing I'll do it on plumbing as well. Okay. Now electrical works and plumbing, both of them have been outsourced to a subcontractor. You understanding? This part of activities scope of the work is not under our company. So my company do not deal with electrical works and plumbing work, so we do not know anything about it. But we want to make it done by using a subcontractor. But what happens now? How do we assign resources? It's none of your business to tell him that how many laborers do you want, what time he is working, how much they cost per day, what calendar they work on. And because anyway these are not our employees or our own company's employees, they are not working for our scope. So so there's no point in getting into those details. So what I want only the cost factor. For so much of days my electrical works have to be finished with so much of cost, right? So this, if you want to do, it's better, there's an option here, go to roles, because that becomes a role rather than creating a resource. We do not have a resource. I'll say it's a electrical I'll make electrical works itself as a there's already there one something, so it has taken electrical works 1. So electrical works 1 is my role here. Now I'll have a cost. Now it's telling you price per unit cost, right? So you'll have to give per day cost. Now the problem is, how do I give per day cost? It's a lump sum amount which I'm providing. Say that we are providing a there's a cost of say whatever, 5 lakhs for electrical works. Say the activity is for 5 days. So I can do it like this. This is my a lakh of rupees, and my unit becomes per day here. I can do it either in this way. I'll show you both the ways how do we do it actually. I have created now. I'll click on activity called as electrical works. I'll add not resource, role. Here it is, and then assign. And you can see here the total cost has been added as 5 lakhs. So this is the one way of doing it. Now suppose dividing it by that number of days is difficult. So what you can do, you can add it with whatever the number you want, and then still you can change it here. I'll show you. Like for example, I'll do it with plumbing and show you. So you can go to roles, add, I'll make it as plumbing works. Just a second. I made as a plumbing works, and now say I do not know the cost, per day cost and all, calculating that by number of days and all. I'm not sure. I'll put it 0 here. I'm not putting any cost here, right? I'll just give the unit here as a day, and I'll give it as a 0. I do not know the cost of that right now, so I'll close. When you come to know the estimated cost of that, the estimated cost of a third party, then the moment you assign it here, after assigning, you will have to go to this option called as budgeted cost. Find out where it is here, right? And then you can type the lump sum cost. Let's say for example the lump sum cost of plumbing is around 6,50,000. This is the cost. Now the moment I assign it here, just for an accountability purpose, it just considers an amount for that particular whole activity, accountability. So it says that this activity will will cost you for 6,50,000. You can add it here directly into this budgeted cost. It's not necessary that while adding itself you will have to give the cost. No, lot many times what will happen in a planning, you do not have estimation. You just you get to know that okay, electrical works, plumbing works is the activity which you will have to do, but that budgeting for that activity might not have happened, because sometimes an architect have not given you the details yet, or your subcontractor is not ready, or so those particular things are there. So lot many times you will have to do this. You just have to add the resources or the roles, and then later on, once it has been approved, you can add it directly to the budgeted cost. Not necessary that while creating only it has to be added. Okay. This is how a lump sum can be added. If there is a lump sum something, then you need not create a resource. You can directly create as a role and then add a lump sum cost to that, so that you need not tell that how many people are there, what time they come, what is a calendar, all those stuff. You just have to create a lump sum as an electrical work, plumbing, add it to that, and then assign. Becomes easier, right? So this is all about assigning, creating the resources, creating the roles, and assigning it to them. Now it's as simple as that. The moment you start practicing, probably you will have some more doubts also. So the moment you create a resource here, you can either do it from this dialog box, or the moment you just say finish, you still have that all editing option here also. I can go change my dates, start date, and effective date. There is something called as effective date. Now effective date in the sense, for example, lot many times happens, for example, this is my say some resource. I've given some number so that it becomes unique. Okay, so I have given this number. Assume that from 1st of January 2020 12 am we have a cost as say 600 rupees per day. Okay, now we have 3 site engineers. Okay, then what I'll do here, I'll add one more, just a second. You can see here I have added one more here. I'll say from 1st of July. You can see here the change. This is from 1st of Jan till 30th June, and from 1st of July probably there is a hike of say 200 rupees. Okay, and this becomes 4 per day. You can see the availability. That means company has hired one more site engineer, and earlier there was 600 rupees till particular from Jan to June, and then after that there's a July, there's a hike, and then the hike is of 200 rupees per day, and then there are 4 people now, right? So if you want to add some more, you can add it as much as you want. You can add it here from when what will be the cost. That usually in human resource department do that. They'll tell you that when the hike has to be given, how much hike has to be given. So based upon that the cost is also changing. Now how it will work? Before 1st of July, if you assign this for this resource to any activity, then it will consider 600 rupees. After 1st of July or from 1st of July, whenever you add this resource to any activity, it will consider 800 rupees per day. Before 1st of July, it is maximum what we have is only 3 people, but after 1st of July or from 1st of July it is 4 people. You understanding? This is how it works. Now there is some more things in this. There's something called a shift calendar here. Now what is the shift calendar all about? There are different shifts, right? Day shift, night shift, or first shift, second shift, and third shift. Basically 8 into 3 is that how it works for 1, 2, 3. So we can assume there is some amount of people, some group of people who are working on the first shift and some other group of people are working on second shift. So to give a calendar separately as a shift working, so we have an options here. We have a 1 shift, 3 shift operations, and you can create second shift, third shift, however you want. So how do we create those shift calendars and all? In tools, is it in tools? 1 second, let me check in enterprise. Yeah, do we have? Yes, here in this enterprise option you have an option called as resource shifts. Here you can see that what it is. For example, what is 3 shift? I want to see what is 3 shift operation. I'll go to modify. The 3 shift are the first shift morning 7, second shift starts at 15 in the sense, yeah, 1, 2, 3, yes, 3 o'clock, and this is at 11. So these are my 3 shifts. That's how the 3 shift calendar it is. So if you want something, a new calendar, and which should be a night shift calendar, then probably I can create a night shift calendar here which start at say 20, that is night, and then so it's only I'll just delete it once more to show you. It's taking a little time. You can see this has to come, this black one has to finish so that it is deleting, or else if you do something, it will start saying that it's not responding. I'll add one. I'll say it as so I'll say start hour is 20. So it is taking 24 hours because it has only one here, right? So the moment I click on that, it gives me two. Say that this start by morning so this is 10 hours. Right. So we have two shift here, one is a day shift, another is a night shift. So we can always use this as one of the night shift calendars to create. For example, if I want this site supervisor to work as a night shift, then probably we'll have to change here. We'll have to select this and then say click on add, and here the shift is not one is day, two is night. So right, so this is two. If you make it as 2, then this particular resource will work for a night shift, because 1 is again morning 8 a.m. So if I make it as 2, then it is 8 p.m. in the evening, right? So this this resource, whenever the site engineer, whenever you assign on any activity from this particular date till that particular date, again for this particular you can change, but by default it is night shift for both the dates, but if you want you can do changes for that, right? So this is how a shift calendar works. Anything else if I have missed out? Progress reporter is not there currently, we can leave that. I think rest everything I have showed you and explained you. I believe I have told you about overtime factor also. Okay, so this is how you can create the resources and then assign it, right? Very important, you have to remember is budgeted units, budgeted cost. Budgeted units means the total number of resources required for that activity to finish, not per day. So remember, it's only for learning basis. I'm just showing you about per day how much resource and all, but it's not true. If practically, if you ask me, how do I say that, how many labors do I need per day? It's very difficult to say. So how do we come to know? It's only by total number of resources and duration, right? So for example, your total duration of the activity is 4 days, right? So then you get to know what is the total quantity. That's probably, if I'm talking about any activity called as, okay, square meter, I have so and so square meter of work have to be done. Now for this, how much of resource I do need? So I'm talking about total quantity of the resources, not day basis. I just add it into budgeted units. Remember here, so you have to add something here, budgeted units. That means for this activity I need total 5 units of resource. That's what I have added, 5 units probably whatever it is in probably here it is electrician or plumbing something, so it is 5 units of electrician it has taken. For example, if I have to take into any other example, here it is bags. Okay, there are total 40 bags of cement what we have told. This is into budgeted units totally. Now units have become bags here, correct? For example, if here I'll add a labor, say that I'm adding a labor here, right? How many labors do I need for doing de-shuttering activity? Here it has taken only 1 unit. Say I need total 2 units of labors I need total work. I'm not considering on day basis. Okay, so you can add it here, so automatically it will divide it by number of days and it will get scheduled. So this is all about roles and resources. So yeah, I showed you how to use your resource usage profile and resource usage spreadsheet as well. The next topic we'll be doing is about baselines. As I told you, baselines are very important. It is for references. So how do we create baselines? How do we add it? How do we assign it? So on that day server was a problem, but today it will not be there because I already started my server before, right? So it's working. So what I'll do, how do we create baselines? There are as I told you earlier also, there are different types of baseline, the project baseline, and usually mainly divided into two, that is user baseline, project baseline, and user baseline. Under user baseline there are again three categories under which I can create, that is called as primary, secondary, and tertiary. Now what is project baseline? Project baseline is by default a current plan of the project to which you want to compare in executing or while executing for having references. You need some reference, right? So while doing an execution you need some reference. You want to monitor your activities, what was planned and what has happened. For that we need baselines. So by default project baseline will be a current plan. User baseline, you can add anything you want. It's users interest of applying or using or assigning a baseline is different. It's not for current baseline. I want to compare it something else, some other projects, ongoing projects, completed projects, or some different phases. Basically what happens if a project is too big, right? So what we have done is we have done phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 have started simultaneously, but all phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 has individual project managers who are executing the project. So I want to compare my phase 1 to phase 2, phase 2 to phase 3, or phase 3 to phase 1. So in that time you can use your user baselines the way you want it. But basically the current plan is a project baseline, and that will be a primary baseline also. Remember, primary baseline is a baseline which will be compared for the actuals. So how do we do that? Go to an option called as projects. Go to an option called as projects. Here we have option called as maintain baseline. So here once you come to this maintain baseline option, here you get an option called as add. Click on this. It says two options are there. Either you can copy the current current plan as to a baseline, or convert the whole project to a new baseline. So I'll say right now I want to make my current project as a baseline. It says to see your job status, it has been created because it is a server, but this will not happen to you. The moment you click add, the baseline will be added. But for me, I'll have to get a permission. So I have already started service and I've taken a permission. I'll just have to run it. So you can see here, here it is, create a baseline. It's running currently. I just have to do a refresh. It says it's completed. The job request was completed successfully. So I'll say refresh. I'll say close. I'll say go to file and then say refresh, or press F5. And if you go to project, click on project, maintain baseline, you can see my baseline has been created, right? So this is default, the name. You can, this name can be changed, but we do not suggest to change, because then you will have to remember the name which is your baseline 1 and baseline 2. If you give some name, because what will happen when you are inserting the columns, by default it is B1, B2, B3 in columns, but here the names are different, so it will get confused. So let it be like this. Do not change the name here. Now you can tell what type of baseline it is. Probably I'll say it as initial planning baseline, as we are planning for the first time. And nothing here. I'll just say close. I have created a baseline. Now I have to assign my baseline to my activities. Again, click on projects, click on assign baseline. Here I'll select project baseline. You can see my dwelling stars, which baseline I have already created. It's seeing, I'm able to see it here. So I'm making it as a project baseline and primary baseline. It's compulsory. So I've done it already, but I'm not able to see it on the Gantt chart. So to do that, right click. You have an option called as bars. Here you can see there's something called as primary baseline. Check in that box, apply. Okay, so you can see this yellow line or the yellow bar, what it has come newly, is known as a baseline. So baseline is constant. Baseline cannot be changed. Baseline will not change with respect to your plan. But there is one more option where I can update my baseline. if I want to update baseline, again, various factors and the reasons for doing it. Two ways. One way I'm telling that baselines is constant and cannot be changed, but still I tell you that yes, baseline can be updated. That means can be changed. That means once the baselines have been created and has been approved by a client, for no reason or without a permission of a client, you cannot do any changes in the baseline. That's how it has to be understood. Okay, because once the baseline has been given to a client after an approval of a client, baseline or is something which a client is looking at. Baseline is that what you have submitted, is that what he is comparing his actuals to the plan. Whatever is happening onto your site, the actual work, that work will be compared with the plan which you have submitted. No matter after that there are 2 times, 3 times your internally the plans might have changed because of cost, cash flow or resources or any other external reasons, but client is not interested to see that changed plan. He is still comparing with the initial plan what you have submitted to him. Or okay, so now I said that at some point of time the plan can be updated when something like this, what has happened with this corona or whatever is happening across the world with the natural calamities, what it's not controllable, or something where client there might be a lot many times the problem will be with the client, where client, whatever the client's scope was earlier and it has got changed now, or the client himself wants a delay. There's a cash flow problem with the client side where he's because of that he do not want contractor to execute that amount of work in the next week. He want to delay himself. So lot many times it can happen from a client side, and that time when client want to update his plan, whatever the plan you have given it to the client himself want to update it, because there's a lot of things which is not happening according to the plan and client do not want to happen it according to the plan, so client himself want to change it. So that is the only way where or when we update these plans, right? So say about if you want to change the duration on this activity which was of 4 days, now I am making it as 5 days. Understood? So now because of this it is affected everywhere, right? So this change has been happened from the client side, assuming that, and client want to update it now. So how do we update? So you will have to click on this project again, go to this maintain baseline option called as update. This happens only if a client wants to update this, right? So I have said update. I'll say okay. So close. Job status. Updating baseline is running. I'll say refresh. Still it is taking little time. You can see it's completed now, right? It was running and now you can see it as complete. I'll say close and I'll say refresh once so that it gets synchronized. And you can see here the changes what I have done into my current plan, my baselines also got updated, right? Or else it will not get updated. So whatever the changes you do in the plan, for example, I want a lag here. Say I'll add a lag of 1 day. Now this is again the change in the plan, but this plan is not been done, or this change which is not what I have done currently is not from a client side, it is from a contractor side. Now this is not approved, so you can see the baselines are not moving. Tomorrow what your client want is to compare this, not this. So this is your current plan, this is your previous plan, right? So this is how it can be compared or monitored tomorrow, so that what is planned and what is happening currently. So if you want to create one more baseline, you can, of course you can create as much as baselines you want, as I told you, and you can assign them as a primary, secondary, tertiary baselines. So at any point of time if you want to compare only plans, I do not want to compare actuals, it's possible, no? Excuse me. My plan A, plan B, I want a comparison between a plan A and plan B. I do not want to compare my actuals to the plan, but I'm comparing my plan A and plan B. So that is also possible. You can create a baselines and then make primary, secondary. You make a primary baseline, secondary baseline, bring both the baselines onto the Gantt chart so that you have a comparison between B1 and B2. So how many baselines I can compare at any given time is 3 maximum. That is primary, secondary and tertiary. But for there is no restriction for baselines to be created until unless you impose a restriction, which there's a facility. Most of you have not seen the advanced or EPPM, right? Simultaneously, I'll just open it here. This I'm using a internet browser to connect my server. I'll just use my username and the password. I'll just show you this is how EPPM looks like. What happened? I'll just show you how my EPPM looks like so that you'll have an understanding. This is also Primavera. You can say it's a Oracle Primavera P6 EPPM. This is P6 application what we are using, and this is called as EPPM. This is a web version of it what we are using here as a client. So this is where if I'm there in my office currently and I'm connected to my local area network, and then I'm accessing my standalone software through my network. That's an internal network. But assume that I'm sitting in my home and I want to access a software, but I cannot access it through LAN because not possible. No, standalone cannot be accessed in that way. So I'll have to connect to a network, and this is a web browser. This is not a software. I'm connecting my server through the web browser, and this is a software which is installed into the server, right? So these are the softwares. Whatever you do it here in the client is also getting updated in the server, right? So anything which we have created there can also be seen in this web browser. So in this EPPM version we have all the settings. That's what I was talking about, and suddenly I showed you that because if I have to the moment I want to change my baselines apex itself completely, then probably I can still do that, but I have to restrict it. Now as I told you, unlimited baselines can be created. That is true, but an admin, a company's application administration manager, whom we call them as an company's IT admin, can restrict to create only 10 or 20 baselines, and that is possible through this option called as EPPM. So it's a same like what we have done. Here also we have activities, here also we have resources. It's a same that what we have done there. There are lots of projects which is open here, so these are the activities, right? So I just gave a you can see here this is the same timeline again. These are our activities. So here we have made it as plinth beam block works. some of them have done. Okay, so this is an EPPM version through which you can still do it. That's what I wanted to show, that restricting in baselines. Right now here there's no restriction. That you can remember. There's no limitations to create baselines. As much as you want you can create. That if you understand, that's sufficient. Alright, so this is how about creating a baseline. The next is updating. So we saw updating either manually or automatically. Automatic in the sense only the automatic update will happen with respect to the plan. Still the actuals, what is happening actually onto the site, has to be manually entered. Okay, so either you can choose one-to-one activity to update, or you can choose from to date. From this particular date to this particular date I want to update. That is called as automatic update. If you want to choose not with respect to the date, if you want to choose with respect to the activities one after the other, then you can go for a manual update. Like for example, click on that particular activity, go to the status in the detail window, and you can see here there's an options called as started. So if you feel that this activity is started, you are updating it, you are there into the site. As I told you, when do we do update? So probably 15 days once, weekly once, monthly once. We don't do it daily, right? So whenever, like, you know, you feel, let's say, okay, weekly I'm doing it, so I'll say this activity has started, and we'll have to tell that how many days it has taken. It has taken only 1 day. I'll say, let's, according to your plan, we started and we finished this activity on time, right? So how about the next activity now, reinforcement activity? When this is going to be finished to excuse me, this is going to be a finish to start relationship. So this activity will start on 25. So I'll select that 25 and I'll say start it. Now this activity is going to be starting on 25th of July, and then this activity is finishing after because it's weekly once activity, so that this activity is also completed till you update the this thing. So I'll say, I'll give some particular date, I'll say 30th, and I say this is finished. And you can see the rescheduling is happening here automatically. If you want, you can reschedule those activities. Like for example, I'll go to this option called as scheduler, or you will find it here in this tool. If you go to this tool option, you can see your scheduler. Click on the scheduler, and then you can reschedule all the remaining activity from the next date, right? So I'm selecting that. You can see I have scheduled all that back again onto the time. You understanding? Now if there is a delay, how I'll show that delay? For example, it is original is 5 days. I can directly add a duration here. I'll say this activity has taken 1 day extra to finish. So it was 5 days, it has become 6 days. So how about the remaining activities now? The remaining activities have to be again rescheduled, because my reinforcement activity is finishing 1 day delayed. So my next activity have to be started from 1st of August. So I'll select that activity to be rescheduled, so that you can see here my all other activities getting rescheduled from the next date, right? So this is manually, you can tell that if there is an activity delayed. Like as I told you, this activity have got delayed. Okay. Excuse me, there's no resources which we have added here, I guess. Okay, so now I'll tell you how we can update the, with respect to the dates. We usually they usually call it as an auto update. Automatic update is from particular date to particular date, from and then to. Let's say for example, when you click on this update progress, you will have to say, okay, from 1st of August, sorry, it's already data date is 1st of August. You can see here current data date. Data date is nothing but status date. That means till 31st of July it has got updated. Now 1st of August is what the status, current date from where it has to be updated. Okay, this is a from date. Say that I want to update till 8th of August. I'll select. You can see this yellow color line. That means it is going to update for so much of time. That yellow light is known as spotlight. It is known as spotlight. So you can see here till that particular Saturday all my other activities have got scheduled, updated, right? Now here in this concreting there were some deshuttering, right? So here in this we had some resources also. Let me go to this resources column. Here to budgeted units were 2. Assume that with 2 people we wanted to do deshuttering of an activity, but actually I have used 3 people. You understanding? Earlier we had planned was to use 2 people or 2 labors. Now but actually I have used 3 labors, so I have increased in my actual units. The moment I do it, you can see the cost also have got increased. Actually we had planned with 800 rupees. Now the actual cost have raised to 1200 rupees. You understanding? So this is automatically, you need not do anything, you just have to add the resource. But if you want to increase the cost further, for example 400 rupees, I guess we have given 400 rupees per head per resource. So that's the reason why when I say 3, it is 4 into 3. Now if you want to change that. It was 400 and earlier, now it is 500 rupees per day. So I'll have to give 1500. You understanding? It was planned for 400 rupees per labor, right? So that's the reason why when I said 3 actual labors, it is taking 1200. But in the execution, planned was 6 months back. Now we are not finding labors with 400 rupees, so we'll have to spend 500 rupees per head. So what I'm doing, for the same 3 labors I have to spend 500, so it becomes 1500. I can add it manually, whatever the actual cost we have spent on that particular resource. So the moment you do that, it will change. Resources, we have increased 1. 2 budgeted units were there, we have added 1 more labor, and the cost we have increased from 1200 to 1500. And total budgeted plan cost was 800, now actual cost have become 1500. So this everything you have to do it manually. It could be in terms of cost, resources, labors, materials, or start date, end date, duration. All these things have to be done manually. Actuals. What happens when you go to tools and say update progress? It just updates with respect to the plan. Whatever has planned, is that what it shows that it has been done in that way. Like for example, I'll show through Spotlight once more. I'll drag this till Tuesday, right? So my client want to see an update till Tuesday. So I'll consider this. I'll select that. I'll go to tools. I'll say update progress. It's 12th of August. I'll say update. So you can see that till this particular Tuesday, what was planned is that what has updated, because what is happening onto the site, software is unknown. So you will have to tell that actually what has happened, right? So here you can see on this electrical works, till this Tuesday we have already done 3 days. 5 days work it is, 3 days is done, 2 days is still remaining. Budgeted units was this, and actually the amount what we have spent is this, and remaining is this. Is that what it is telling you? If if everything is according to the plan, then need not do any changes into it. But if you say that already actually I have spent 4 lakhs, 44 lakhs, so what happens? Remaining it says 1 lakh, but I say remaining still I need more, so I can add it like this. So my at completion becomes 6 lakhs, right? Actually is already I've spent 4, remaining still I need 2 lakhs to finish my work. So total entire work cost will be 6 lakh, but budgeted cost is only 5 lakh 1500. So from where do you get another lakh of rupees? So your budget have to be increased, right? So we again get into our meetings, and then we'll ask our project manager or whoever. If project manager himself is doing this, then probably project manager has to request for his senior authorities to increase the budget, and we'll have to give XYZ all the reasons that why the project budget is getting increased and all the stuff. If we have a good amount of reserve kept for ourselves, then a great escape for a project manager. But if not, then probably either a project manager has to convince a client. So usually have that top level management will not do that. A project manager have to go to a client place, then have to make him understand that these are the XYZ reasons why the cost is getting increased, and this is a budgeted cost you will have to increase. And then if client approves, then that happens, or else within whatever the remaining budget of the project, you still have to manage your cost. So most of the project failure happens because of this. Many times the problem is the assumptions what we have made and the actuals what has happened is two different things, and client is not agreeing on what is actually happening now. The client says that your assumptions have failed, so what should I do? I have planned according to your assumptions, and then I have given you the project. So a lot of time if you have seen the projects stopping in between, contractor running away because of cost, the project is not, client is telling that whatever the work you have done is that already I have paid, I cannot pay you anything more than this. but contractor wants more money, so that he wants to continue the work. He has to give the labor's cost, material cost, everything. So this is where it happens. So to have a proper in hand, you need to have a good proper planning. You need to do a detailed planning, so that these problems or these crises will not be there tomorrow. So this is what I guess we have done till, apart from small topics like constraints or notebook feedbacks, documents, WPs and docs and all, issues, thresholds. So they are very small topics, nothing much of concepts into that. It's only a software. But I think till concept wise we have done till this topic. Anything which you people want to know or still want to see as a revised one? Anything you want to see? I have done till whatever the concepts of Primavera we have done till now. That revision has been done. You want to see any particular topic now? You want me to repeat any of the topics still? I don't mind. Okay, you please do not hesitate to tell if you want to see anything. One person. That's what Just Naveen told me to do roles and resource, so that I showed it for everyone. So it's just one person also needs that. I'm ready to do that. So our next topic will be of earned value analysis. We do not have time today. It's going to be a very conceptual training. Probably I'll also put into a message that to join more people onto that particular day, because software somehow you people are able to. I am able to see it in my this thing, that views. You people are viewing it, so that I feel that you people are practicing, of course. But concept training is something that I feel that you should be there when the classes are going on. So I want you people to be there in the next class. Earned value analysis is the most important topic, because it's all about how do you monitor your project. See, there are if you divide this Primavera into phases, you'll understand that the first phase was of planning. We started planning. We started identifying what is the project, what is the calendar, what is the scope of the work, what are the activities, relationships, when it will start, when it will finish, how many resources do we need, what is the cost of that. Then budgeting happened. This is what are completely planning. Then what we did, there was something called as execution in between. Execution is what we have planned and what is happening, that recording of the actuals. That is a process which is going to be there forever till the completion of the project. Execution. But along with an execution, there is one more phase which has to go hand in hand parallelly. That is monitoring and controlling the project. Right? What is the purpose of doing this planning, execution and all, onto capturing all those things into the software? What is the purpose of doing a planning and capturing those actuals in the software? Is to monitor and control our project. So the third phase is very important. That's where we are entering into. The third phase is very important, that we call as a tracking. Usually tracking is nothing but comparison between actuals and the plan, and how do we generate the reports of that, and how that reports is analyzed to further to understand that where we are standing, what will be the future of the project, how do we, if there is a project lag already, then how do we recover that. So if you want to know these things, then understanding the concepts of that is very important. Okay, so that we have to teach you. That's what I was in this Google Meet we do not have a whiteboard, so I'll be using a notepad or a Microsoft Word to explain you that how it works, and I'll show it on the software. Do you want me to repeat any of the topics quickly? You want to see WPs and docs and or anything else in another 5-10 minutes quickly? Hello, I'm audible. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So then probably you do not want to. I think we have done with all the revise, right? So whatever the revision required was done, I guess. And I'll upload both the revisions videos right now, so that if you people want to go through it again once, you can go through it. All right. Anything you want me to do, some more thing, please communicate, guys, because what is happening, this doing it online training is little, heck, you doing it from one side, you're talking to your computer, you do not know who is there on the other side, we haven't seen each other, we do not know, I don't know, your facial expressions are very important when we do it in the classroom. We come to know that, okay, what actually happening, you're understanding, you're not understanding, how you are taking it. But doing it in front of a system, it's very difficult for us actually. So please communicate. Anything is there, anything you want to do, anything you want me to do more, please give me suggestions. All right, then, if things are done, we can end up the session today, and we'll meet up again day after tomorrow. Please do practice, and be communicating if anything is required. All right. All right. So thank you so much.